Welcome back to Touring Tallinn Part 2. And if you haven't already, go check out Part 1. Random pro tip, if you're like me and you cannot sleep with only one pillow, get you some packing cubes which make travel so much easier, fill it with clothes, and now you have 2 pillows. On day 2, I finally figured out the scooters. I was a little nervous at first, but I'm so glad I figured it out. It made getting around the city center so much easier. One thing I love about Tallinn is it has its medieval side that's full of history, but it also has this very modern and artistic side. I'm not really sure what was going on here. It was like a naked man with all these random animals staring at him. Very interesting artwork, to say the least. I love unique souvenirs, and I really wanted one of these Harry Potter marionettes, but at this point I had no more space left in my suitcase, unfortunately. At this point I headed back to Old Town because there was still a few tours I wanted to do, but I wanted a little snack first. The day prior I saw that this had Estonian Sushi. I wasn't really sure what that meant, but you know me, I love sushi, so I had to check it out. This wasn't your standard sushi, but that's what made it so intriguing. It had catfish, cow leek, horseradish wasabi, and barley. It's not something I would really order again, but it wasn't horrible and it was cool to try it. I just prefer standard Japanese or Americanized sushi. And of course I had to get some creme brulee for dessert because you can't go wrong with a creme brulee. I decided to use the restroom before going on one of the tours, and I'm so glad I did. They sent me upstairs, and this was in an old chimney. This was probably the coolest bathroom I've ever been to. On my first tour of the day, I decided to go visit the Old Town Hall and the Tower. It's funny because growing up and going to school, I was never a huge fan of history. And I don't think it was so much I didn't enjoy history, it's just I wanted to be in those places to actually feel the feels and experience all the things. And just learning it from a textbook was never exciting to me. My goal was to travel and see the actual places that were talked about in the history books and not just read about them. So I think that's what makes all these older destinations in Europe really appealing to me. And the fact that we never really learned about Estonia, or it wasn't a place I ever expected to go, makes it even more special. One thing about international travel is you are going to get your steps in, and there is probably going to be a lot of stairs. There definitely was here. It's crazy to think that these documents and artifacts are over 500 years old. And of course we have more stairs because I didn't get my workout in enough earlier. And this is where the real workout began, the Town Hall Tower. The tower was built in 1402 to 1404 and was 115 steep steps tall. And here we have an old toilet hole.
These stairs are so steep.
That was a full workout
Of, I don't know, like 115 stairs, but they're steep. It's a tiny little area though. temperature feels amazing up here after that hike.
And this is out overlooking the restaurant I had eaten at earlier. The views up here were so beautiful. And so began the sketchy walk back down. Next, I headed to this market because one thing about me is I love a good market. I'm not a huge chocolate person, but I am a sucker for chocolate shops abroad. They have the most delicious chocolate. And you know I couldn't leave without trying some snacks, so I got these little savory pancake style things, and then also this salmon and cheese roll. Both of these things were super similar, but they were good nonetheless. So Apple Maps actually deceived me, and I thought the Maritime Museum and the Seaplane Museum were closed on this day, which was a Monday. So I decided to drive by anyways on the scooter just to check it out from the outside. Come to find out, they were actually open. But by this time, I only had an hour and a half, so I hustled over to the Seaplane Museum so I could see some of that before it closed. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint. It's probably one of the best museums I've ever been to. Touring the inside of the Limbit submarine was probably my favorite part. This was a water pressure simulator and it was intense. I actually went as high as it would go, but I was feeling it. It felt like my hand was gonna be crushed in two. It was wild. This is just another reason why I'm not a huge fan of water or deep water exploration, anything like that. I could truly never do it. I really enjoyed how interactive this museum was. There was so many things that you could actually be a part of, like this plane you could get in and do a little simulator, or even this real life life raft that you could actually get in. By this point, I only had about 20 minutes left, and I didn't realize how much there was actually to see outside, so I'm kind of disappointed I didn't get to take more time here. But going onto this little ship was truly something cool. It was like a miniature version of the Titanic, and there was so much you could see and interact with. It was truly something special. This was my one last view before heading out. At this point, I had like no charge left on my phone, maybe 1 or 2%. I still needed to get a scooter for the ride back and get the scooter before my phone died. Otherwise, I would have been walking the entire way there with no maps. Thankfully, I made it though, and that's it for this video. I'll see you on the next one.